There are two things at once one should never strive to be at the exact same time, at any point, in relation to anything. Loud and wrong. Pick one, but please don't live the struggle of both. Just pick one. You can be loud, you can be wrong, and like the hoodie says, y'all like to try people, okay? I don't understand why. Actually, I do understand why, because there's this cool idea or endeavor, like let's just go ahead and, I don't know, try to humble women in sneakers sometimes. I'm not really sure, but I had time this morning when I'm recording this. So if you caught the video, it feels like forever ago now, about the Foamposite, the Galaxy, more importantly, returning. Now, we're in different times, okay? I don't know if people are trading sneakers for cars, but that happened during that epic, amazing, historic release within sneakers. Like, that's a moment in history we'll always remember if we're old enough to remember it. Yeah, so, I did a video. I don't know how the current generation will respond, but they respond quite differently because, again, they're a different generation than the previous one when this shoe dropped. So there's nostalgia there, there's emotion there, and I promise you Nike will play off of that, as they should. They're the best marketing company in the world. So on that video, I'm still receiving comments, which is great. I love that YouTube is throwing it into the algorithm. Do that more. Do that more. However, had a gentleman decide to comment, she doesn't do her homework. Foamposite was always $240, I'm assuming, since 1997. I know inflation is still high, okay? It's dragging everyone 40 ways from Sunday. I understand it. I get it. Prices are high, okay? Google is still free. Google is still a free service. And if you take just a few seconds before trying to correct me on this point I made in the video about the higher price point being possibly a little bit of a drawback for people in current times for the Foamposite. Maybe if you weren't trying to correct me there and just decided to Google, you would see that Google provides the answer that in 1997, really wish Moripovich was here. In 1997, okay, because the results are in, it wasn't $240. It was actually below $190. It was $180. So I'm not sure if you were paying $240 in 97. That's a long time to have been finessed. I hope that's not the case, because the shoe was not always $240. And so many people decided to chime in on that when I shared my response, because it was just everyone gets tired and people being loud and wrong in things. But I won't lie. I'll just be honest with you guys. Be very direct with you. Women get quite tired of what feels like men trying to mansplain certain things to us in relation to sneakers. And it doesn't have to be that way, because man, woman, whoever you are, you can be knowledgeable in this game. And a lot of us still look up information to ensure that it's accurate before we say it, especially if we're putting it online. We all will make mistakes, but some mistakes are avoidable. They very much so are avoidable by just doing a little bit of due diligence and fact checking something. I did that to make sure I wasn't, just out of my mind, that I'm like, it hasn't always been $240. Like, I know the Foamposite has been a higher priced pair, but it hasn't always been $240. I was correct. I should not make time for this in my day, but you know what? I just went ahead and did it, because the price of sneakers, it will continue to be a topic of discussion right now. And I don't blame y'all for taking steps back. I did that all year in 2023, and I don't feel bad about it at all. Now, have I purchased sneakers? Of course, and I'll give a rundown of the pairs I've purchased. I've been blessed to have pairs provided to me by brands, but I've still paid money for my pairs, and I've paid that higher, some of the highest amounts you can, just in general releases. Let's say for New Balance, if it's a 990 series, if it's a made in the USA pair, you're going to pay. But at least for me, the perceived value I have as a consumer for the comfort, the materials, the longevity, the execution of a New Balance pair, I'm much more at peace as a consumer paying that higher price, whether it's $200, $210, $220, versus a lot of retros that I may feel don't necessarily live up to that higher price. And it can be a Nike, it can be a Jordan Brand retro, doesn't matter. Now, there will be some that will certainly deliver, and a lot of times it takes a collaboration for that to happen. I feel that's unfair to consumers. Whatever your dollar is going towards, I just feel like it should be executed well. I've expressed that ridiculously in my video in relation to the Air Jordan 12 Cherry that I sent right on back. And there's still a debate going back and forth when people comment, that's what you get for buying a GS pair. I don't know how to tell you this. You're spending $140, $150 on a pair. I don't care if it's intended for a kid. Somebody just simply has a smaller foot. You should get a quality controlled pair of shoes. Why is that so hard to understand? I don't get it. Now, MJO Dan, he posed a really good question as well, I feel. That will continue to be a topic of discussion on Twitter, because again, I'm not calling it X. Y'all stepping back from shoes that retail for $250? That was his question. A lot of people are going to step back. People were stepping back when retros, especially past the one, it's crept up to 200, and then you saw 210, and we're seeing 215 and 225 for the 11s. People are certainly going to pull back. And I'll stop always using the economy and student loan payments coming back into play. I'll even stop using that. I just think a lot of consumers will be a little bit more self-aware maybe of how they're spending their money, and are we wearing as much of the things that we buy as we should? No, we don't. If we're honest with ourselves, no, we don't. Once your collection is like over 100 pairs, it's very difficult to just continuously get a lot of wear in your pairs. And there's another question I saw where somebody's like, what's the oldest dead stock pair you have in your collection, that you haven't worn? That can get a little risky depending on how far back that pair originally was manufactured. It came out, because if you're not wearing it, be prepared for it to crumble when you throw it on foot. That is super risky. But for people's responses to his question, somebody said, yeah, I'm paying $250 for some GRs. All brands, not just Nike, need to realize sneakerheads truly buy shoes as a hobby, as a collector, not because we need them. Prices are too high regardless of exclusivity. I love the fact that they pointed out we don't need them, because we don't. If you have shoes on your feet, you are good. You are good at that point. It's all just it's excess at that point. So we're privileged to be able to have this, but we don't need it. Somebody said already step back. That 220 was too much for me. And they're probably talking more so about Nikes and retros, not even talking about New Balances. So like I said, price has always been a factor. It will continue to be a factor. It doesn't always have to do just with the economy, but I think people will start to question, what am I getting for the $200, and do I think it's worth it anymore? And that is a great question to ponder. I didn't want to pay resale for the Nike Dunk Low Premium Autumn Gentleman. I just didn't. And at first, the past week, I've only seen it in higher sizes. So I was ecstatic when I'm just on Twitter. I get the notification, sold links. It was available on sneakers and stuff in my size 6.5. So I have the Autumn Gentleman on the way. It'll take a minute for me to get to it. My apologies. I'm busy and back on the road again. It'll take a minute for me to get to it, but I paid retail plus shipping, so I'm only paying $125 plus 10, $135 total. I didn't even want to pay the $160. I would have to pay on Go. And last year, I would have jumped at that price. So a lot of us are changing our perspective and how we look at things, and there's nothing wrong with that. Now, will enough of us do it where the brands have to actually shift how they go to market and lower price? I don't think so. Again, I have zero faith in a class project for us. Zero faith. Do you know why? I was stuck in class with all of you that actually didn't do homework. And then I would get in trouble for pointing out how you didn't put any effort into your work. But that's neither here nor there. Please go ahead and comment below your thoughts in relation to pairs reaching over I'm just going to say a 220. Let's just say 220. Some of you have pulled back at 200. Let's just say 220, 250. Your thoughts. Are you going to pull back? That was a great question posed by MJO23 Dan. And if you want the phone posit when it releases for the Galaxy, please go after it. I wish you nothing but the best. Good luck. It is a higher price than what we originally saw in 1997, and that's okay. That's what happens. It's on you as the consumer to make the final decision, as it always is. So I really appreciate you guys tuning into this video. Didn't think it would be this long, but rants happen, and you watch and you support, and I really appreciate you. If you haven't already caught the 2 New Balance videos I have up, full try-ons for items that are available right now, like that satin bomber jacket, but then 2024 items, I already have those available for you to look at. Again, thank you for tuning in. As always, act your age, not your shoe size. Peace.